Beach FM, locals talking to locals.
My pleasure now to welcome from the Greater Wellington Regional Council, Penny Gaylor, the Kapiti representative. Good morning to you, Penny.
Good morning, John, and what a great day just to be locked up in Zoom meetings, I reckon.
We should talk about Zoom meetings. I've certainly attended a few myself recently. But I was listening to the Mayor of Auckland City today. He was talking about the $500 million hole they've got in the Auckland Council finances as a result of COVID-19 and the revenue streams they no longer have, and talking about lots of layoffs. I was wondering how things are going with the Greater Wellington Regional Council in terms of drawing together a budget. It must be a very difficult task this time around.
Yes, it is. And I guess with the public transport side of things being around 70% of our outlay, that's going to be really hard for us. Looking forward to perhaps moving into level 1 where we can resume a little bit of normality for people, but we've had people returning pretty steadily into public transport under level 2. The numbers are growing and growing, but the very prescriptive distancing stuff is in place and continuing to happen. So meanwhile, of course, it's all free till the end of this month. So that's a big hole in the income stream of the public transport, and so the government's picking up the tab on that. The worry's always been for us, right from the get-go, and we said, well, part of the recovery for us of public transport is how long will people stay away from public transport once whatever the new norm is, when we get to that and start living that, will people have, in fear, gone into their cars? What proportion of people, for what proportion of their week will be working from home? And, of course, a great number of people have lost their jobs and will be losing their jobs, so that changes things too. So it is, I guess, heartening on one hand that under the current level 2, we are doing very well with a return of patronage to a level that we can manage, given the how we need to carry people in our trains and buses. So I think, we it might not be quite as scary as we were really quite frightened about when, a few weeks ago we went, now we have to start turning our minds to what life will be beyond and what our incomes will be beyond. But, we just, we'll need to guess, 20 different versions really, because we just don't know how people will deal with this. So, it's all to be unfolding for us.
It's absolutely reasonable that we don't know because we haven't been here before, and that's why I say the planning must be so difficult, and things which many of us would not expect. You'll find many Wellington City retailers and coffee bar owners crying foul because of the number of public servants who are still working from home. Many of them are liking it, and it's looking as if many of them will be working at least a proportion of their week at home for a little bit longer, which means that the central businesses suffer, the local businesses, relatively speaking, prosper. Now, that's something that I wouldn't have expected 2 or 3 months ago. Hasn't the world changed?
Yes, and I've been very mindful. I know a lot of people I've been talking to around my community is, we're very mindful of how we can support our local businesses. And, it's a way of kind of feeling like, oh, I'm doing something good here. Just, to be honest, I guess my work world operated around the Kapiti coast a lot, so did lots of coffee meetings with residents in cafes because I don't have a proper office. So that was my go-to anyway. But, I think, that's certainly the different flow of it. I actually was in Wellington yesterday, and the roads aren't busy, and once you get into that, like the CBD area, there's not that congestion and that noise and that kind of pace about it. Yes. Very light on the pavements, and I was out at a lunchtime kind of walk, and yet there's a lot of kind of full car parks, I have to say, on those sort of on-street car parks. but the human busyness and then the moving traffic on those inner roads, it's very different from, your normal. I mean, I always find when I go from, I live up here in Otaki, then going even from the Kapiti, anywhere in the Kapiti coast, and then going to the CBD, I'm like, oh my God, this is so busy. Calm down, everybody. Yeah.
But not so much at the moment. Yes, it is very noticeable. I've had to go into Wellington a few times, also going in next week, and it's been fascinating charting the difference. So, yes, things have fundamentally changed. I wonder if we can talk about Zoom, because we're recording this early. You're attending a Zoom meeting at 8:30. You're standing in for Darren Ponta later on today at another Zoom meeting. And it seems that there's a heck of a lot of work being done, but being done differently. Now, I've had some of these Zoom, or there's also other products around that can do similar products. I've had some of these video conferencing meetings recently, and I'm finding them really efficient. What's your call? Because I imagine you're in the position where you've had to chair some of these meetings. What do you think?
I definitely think there's certainly very tangible efficiencies. And also efficiencies in terms of when you think about it, that it's a very prescribed time frame for some of our meetings, and people are saying, "Oh, I've got to go on to my next Zoom meeting." So people, go, "Oh, yep, right, yep." So if we've got half an hour, we use just half an hour. If we've got through, or whatever. So yesterday, when I was returning from Wellington and the various things I was doing there, I actually I had a 4:30 Zoom meeting with a couple of the group managers that report into the area that I chair as Environment Chair, and another colleague. So we're all in very different parts of the Wellington region, and I pulled into a McDonald's car park with the backdrop of the sun going down, and did my Zoom meeting there with my iPad on my dashboard, and very flattering angle, and with that beautiful sunset in the background. This is the haze, the golden haze, and so you're just like, oh, so you're there. This is when I need to do my meeting. I thought, right, well, I'll get to a next safe place before I complete the rest of my journey home. Oh, boom, here we go. Here's a car park. So then today, I've got a series of Zoom meetings, all these different codes, mind you, to get your head around. Where's that email with that code? That's the only bit of fluffing that does happen, is that you'll get a text from a colleague going, oh, I'm in the wrong Zoom meeting. Here I come.
Right.
And then what will be challenging for me next Thursday is the first post-COVID, first post-lockdown environment committee that I'll be chairing. Now, I've chaired committee meetings for, years, and this will be the first time I've ever done it using the technology we have now.
Right.
So it'll be challenging again, because I always I love chairing. I liken it to being that air traffic controller person.
Yes, precisely.
And you're constantly sweeping the room with your gaze and watching for the little flinch of colleagues who are in a state of panic or wanting to get their point across. And you're also looking out for when officers who are sitting back behind them of kind of going, oh, I know the answer. Can I help? Can I contribute? And you go, yeah. Actually, so-and-so can explain that for us. I also, in having, when our public come into a meeting and talk to us, very different to have them see us and feel that that they can see that we're really listening to them. And of course, you get media, coming into these meetings as well. So it'll be quite a different experience to chair it. Don't know how I'll go. Hopefully, it'll be okay.
Well, obviously next week we're going to have to pre-record our chat as well, so it's going to be interesting finding out. But I have heard, I think you've mentioned to me before, that one of the advantages of these electronic meetings is that all of the people, you can set it up, so all of the participants are on the screen at the same time. Therefore, by definition, you can see everyone, whereas at a live meeting, you tend to concentrate on a certain part of the room. At least I do if I'm chairing. So that's a difference, isn't it?
Yes, and that was what struck me yesterday when I was having this meeting with the two group managers and my colleague Prue Emerson from the Hut, and we're all different places, but that all four of our faces, including your own, which was a bit strange, but all four of our faces were right on the screen that I was looking at constantly. So you actually felt that you were not turning and having a conversation with one person at a time and moving around and da-da-da. It struck me as like, actually, this feels really nice when you can see the expressions of everybody you're talking to all at the same time. And, we're all making a little bit of effort to make sure that it is a little bit sociable, because it is not quite as human focused as being in the flesh, but that that sense of closeness and a sense of intimacy of the conversation, like you're almost like all in the huddle of sitting around a little cafe table, all having an equal chiming into things, whereas other kind of meetings, we're all very distant around very, very big tables. So
yes, it's ironic.
It felt when it's smaller groups, it feels a little bit better to be that grasping that more informal approach, which as human beings I think we enjoyed.
So
the human dynamic.
The human dynamic, isn't it strange, being aided by technology, and there you were in different parts of the Wellington region. So I've got a feeling that Zoom or something like Zoom is here to stay, and possibly for the better as well. Well, next week she'll talk more about Zoom in that case and other things. Lovely to have the time with you today. It's about time for you to Zoom away, Penny. Thank you so much for your company this morning.
Get the Zoom face on. Yes, get the hair done for Zoom, and
Penny Gaylor, thank you for your company. Good on you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
106.3 Beach FM.